Today on the Trent Out Loud podcast. The Drake and Kendrick battle is officially over. I will give you guys the details and my final thoughts. What up? It's your boy Trent Out Loud, and I'm back with another episode. All right, it's Monday morning. Weirdly, I'm in a good mood. I'm amped. I don't know what is wrong with me. Normally, Mondays I come in here, I'm groggy. I want to go to sleep, but I feel like the rest and relaxation this weekend, not going out, not doing anything, did me good. And I'm in good spirits. Maybe also, too, because it was Mother's Day yesterday. And I was with my aunt, my mom, my sister, my niece, my family. And maybe that's what put me in a good mood. By the way, I have to shout out my Auntie Amy. I said my happy Mother's Day to my mothers and aunts and everything on Friday's episode, but my aunt was in the hospital. And she's like, I missed your shout out. So I promised her I would say happy Mother's Day, Auntie Amy. Love you on today's show. I hope you guys had a great Mother's Day. For those mothers who are with us, not with us, away, passed away, whatever, mothers, grandmothers, nieces, sisters are all beautiful. So it was a great day. It's one of my favorite holidays. And I hope you guys had a great Mother's Day. All right, let's get on with the show. I got a good show set up for you guys today. I got two lead stories. The Drake and Kendrick battle is officially over. I will give you guys the details and my final thoughts. Then we're going to jump into our second lead story. There was a fatal shooting of Air Rogers. Anyways, I'll tell you about it. There's a fatal shooting in the U.S. We'll tell you about that. Then we're going to jump into quick news. We're going to talk about Drake and Kendrick again. Then we're going to talk about somebody leaving their boyfriend to find a husband. Whoopi Goldberg, King Combs, Diddy's son released a diss track to 50 Cent. I don't know why he did that. And then we're going to close out quick news with the teacher that had the 14 girls unbraiding his hair. He followed up with a video about all the backlash he's getting. Then we're going to jump into speed news. We do have a big show, by the way. Jump into speed news. We're going to talk about Lil Meech, DJ Mustard, Mary J Blige, The Game, Rick Ross, Lil Duval, Drake again, Stevie Wonder, and then close out with Soulja Boy. Woo! It's going to be a big show. Then we're going to close out, if we have enough time, we're going to go to question of the day and, of course, sports news. Y'all know what time it is. Turn your TVs, devices, or your radios up. I'm about to start this show. Let's go. Top Dawg declares Kendrick Lamar and Drake's battle is over. And he quotes, "A win for the culture while keeping it all on wax." All right, let me give you guys my quick take on this because I have spent literally the past month talking about Drake and Kendrick, and I am done talking about them. But like I said, we did spend a long time on this, so we do have to give it respect and close it out. Top Dawg, who is the CEO of Kendrick Lamar's record label, tweeted this out on the weekend. He said, "The battle is over, a win for the culture while keeping it all on wax, especially when these publications tried to make it something else. We've proved them wrong. That's a win within itself. On another note, it's time to wrap up TDE's 20th anniversary compilation." Of course, he had to put in his compilation album that's coming out. He also went on, which I thought was a nice text. He didn't go in on Drake, say anything about Drake, didn't whatever. He said, hey, it's a win for the culture. And that was the tweet that went around all the blogs. But he also did take a little bit of some digs. I think this was maybe around a couple hours later. He said, "Good battle." He said, "Now that we see that Kendrick is still king, it's time to address those who thought otherwise and show their hands." And he also said, "I see dead people," which is allude to the song, Not Like Us. And then he said, "We saw everybody that showed their hands. This is the family. Is still king." So he did what he's supposed to do. He's the CEO of Kendrick's record label. That's Kendrick's man. Of course, he's going to say that he won. So on Drake's side, Drake posted this on his Instagram stories on Sunday. I think Top Dawg put that out Friday. Drake on Sunday posted a picture of what looks like kind of like a Game of Thrones kind of battle with there's a bunch of men on horses, and it looks like he's about to fight all these men. And he put "Good times, summer vibes up next." So good times alluding to the battle. And the blogs wrote, more tunes for your head top. Drake says it's time for summer vibes to come. So it looks like Drake is like, all right, the battle's over. It's time for me to get back to the music. That's really what it looks like. So for on both sides, it looks like they have, agreed that, it is done. My closing remarks to this month-long battle was, kind of like what Top Dawg said. Great battle, arguably one of the best rap battles of all time. People will say that Nas and Jay-Z, Tupac and Biggie, there's beefs that went on in the 80s, etc. Definitely for this generation, hands down the best, arguably, the best of all times. Definitely the beef that got the most high quality diss tracks in all. I think it's 10 or even 12. So that was good. My takeaway, as you guys know, I have been very adamant about being a huge Drake fan and trying to look at this not biased. But when you're such a fan, I hate people that are like, I'm such a fan, but I'm looking at objectively. When you're rooting so hard for somebody, it's hard to be objective. So I have always said every comment I've made has come with a little bias. Plus, on top of it, I am Canadian. You know what I'm saying? Like Drake's on his last diss song, he said, my Montreal connects never fall down or never will always stand up or something like that. He shouted out Montreal, where I am right now recording this podcast. You know what I mean? So obviously I'm going to have some bias, just like people in LA are going to have bias to Kendrick, LA, Not Like Us is such an LA song. So having that said, I do think, like what I said, I'm maintaining everything that I've said. I do think Kendrick won the public's win, the public's perception. Drake won. Kendrick won, and I totally understand why. I think from a strategic angle, Drake didn't play his cards properly from a strategic standpoint. But I think from a music standpoint, and a lot of people say this, I think I have a story about it in Quick News with Charlamagne. I'll wait to get to that. But I think from a music level, I think personally that Drake won. Family Matters, Push-Ups. A lot of people don't like Tailor Made, but I like Tailor Made. The Heart Part 6, I still really like that song. And I think I went through this. I'm not going to go through it again, but I think two of Kendrick's songs gets disqualified, right? Meet the Grams. Dude, you said the guy had a kid and there's no kid that popped up. Whether Drake fed you the false information or not, like that song gets disqualified because it wasn't true. That's why Pusher won. That's why Push won the battle, because he unveiled to the world that Drake had a kid that he was hiding. That's what arguably had Drake won, when Push win the battle. Anyways, so I think that song got disqualified. And Not Like Us, although that it's a great song, I don't like the pedophile angle. Like Charlamagne said on Brilliant Idiots, the definition of a pedophile, when you look it up, and you guys can go and research this in the dictionary, is an adult that likes children pre-puberty. Okay? So that's almost like pre-teen. Drake is not that at all. If you want to say Drake's 37 years old and he dates girls who are, 20 or 21 and you think that's creepy, I think there is a vast difference. Well, I know there is a vast, huge, enormous difference between somebody who's doing something that you don't agree with or that you might deem creepy versus a pedophile. I don't like that, especially Kendrick Lamar being like, I'm the, Mr. Pro-Black and brother and their family and all this. I know it's a battle and I know Drake said some dirty things too. But yeah, me personally, it's my opinion, my podcast. I think the pedo thing is too far. With Drake doing some questionable things that some people question about there. I didn't like that, using his house, putting the pedo things on the man's house. Like, I didn't like that. To me, there's no basis on that. There's nobody even saying that. Like, even Drake's biggest haters on the planet will agree that the definition of a pedophile is not Drake, okay? And texting somebody who's in the industry who's 15 years old and saying, hey, good luck, I hope your movie does well, another child actor, and Drake was a child actor, that is far from being a pedophile. So for me, that's why I think music-wise, that those two songs at Kendrick, I didn't like that. I didn't like the angle. People didn't like that Drake's angle from, Kendrick being, beating his ex-wife or fiance. that's a line. Drake didn't make a whole song titled that and put like the artwork as Kendrick being a woman beater. So, you know what I mean? Like, let's not be, you can't put those, you know, Kendrick made a whole song and his cover art was Drake's house with 15 pedophile little, you know, Google marks. Like, I just thought that was distasteful, me personally. So yeah, I think Drake actually won on a music point, but strategically, I got to take my hat off to Kendrick. You know, Family Matters coming out on Friday and then Meet the Grams coming out 47 minutes after, where people can't even digest Family Matters. That was so amazing. The strategic moves was amazing. And then on Saturday, 24 hours after, you hit us with Not Like Us, and you show people that you're not only going to do like, you know, the Easter egg and subliminals like in Euphoria, and you come out and you give us a bop. Like, yo, Kendrick won off of strategy, and that's how Drake won. That's how Drake beat Meek. You know what I mean? But back to back, and that's what, you know, Kendrick took Drake's playbook and used it against him, and Drake underestimated Kendrick and didn't think that he would do that, and he thought that Kendrick would, you know, take 17 days and another 17 days, and Drake would be able to beat him on memes and social media and streamers. And I always said that I didn't like Drake's strategy of doing stuff on social media and the memes and all of this stuff. And yeah, his strategy, you know, and it's easy for me to say that now, Monday morning quarterback, like, oh, that wasn't a good strategy, you know. During it, I did say it too, but I understand why he would underestimate Kendrick and not think that Kendrick would be dropping tracks like that. So that 17 days that Kendrick took, we now know that he took to plot out, you know, beating you and having songs in the cut that he could just drop. And I bet you Kendrick has 4 or 5 more. But anyways, that's just my take. The beef is over. It was well played on Kendrick's side. The public perception is Drake won. I'll totally accept that. In my heart, I still think that he won musically, and we'll talk about that quickly later on. But salute. Just also in closing, just to bring it home, talk about my guy. If you would have told me that a half black, half Jewish kid from Toronto would be the biggest hip hop artist and be in the biggest hip hop battle ever of all times and come out, even though that he lost in the public, he's pretty much come out unscathed. It's not like Meek where he's like embarrassed or it's like, Drake. Like every music critic, every music pundit is like, yo, Drake rap. Drake, you know, like he held his own. Everyone's like, yo, these were all amazing tracks. Some people didn't like the Heart Part 6, but you know, the critics, the hardest Drake critic was like, yo, he could flow. So yeah, he came out technically losing to the public, but he still came out, you know, pretty much unscathed from the battle, even that he lost. It wasn't a TKO. It wasn't a, you know, Kendrick didn't knock him out 4 or 5 times and he couldn't get back up. He's not embarrassed, you know? So I think that part of it is a win, and he comes out unscathed. Look at Jay-Z and Nas. Jay-Z lost to Ether, and Jay-Z is still the bigger artist 20 years later. You know what I mean? And yes, now they're friends. And I think even when Jay was the president of Def Jam, I think Nas, they released a couple of Nas albums. Anyways, they work together in some aspect. I don't know if this could happen 15 or 20 years from now. Knowing Drake, I think he would be cool with it. He's mended a lot of his beefs. Well, we don't know on Kendrick's side. I think Kendrick really doesn't like him more than Drake doesn't like Kendrick. But anyways, so I have to take off my hat for a Canadian Toronto rapper in the music industry to be part of arguably the biggest beef of all times and come out and some people actually think that you won or held your own. That's a win in itself. So I salute Drake. I salute his team for that. And last thing I will say on this is I think personally what Drake should do next, and I think this is what he will do, I think Drake was getting a little tired of the Drake persona that he built. If you look at his last couple of albums, it wasn't the Drake that we knew from, you know, like Take Care, Scorpion. If you're reading this, it's too late. You know what I mean? Like Views, like just there's like, it wasn't the same Drake. He almost kind of was like, I don't know how to explain it, but even with his number ones and even with his, you know, like, it's like, of course I'm number one. Of course I'm all in the top 10 over. Like that gets to you know, you're a billionaire. You have your planes. You have your $100 million house, the embassy. Like it's very hard to keep staying hungry. And I think like with everything that Kendrick exposed and people talking about him and his ways and this or whatever, blah, blah, I think you're going to see a change in Drake, and you're going to see a change in Drake's music. He's going to be hungry again. He's going to feel like he has something to prove. And that's when you're going to get the best Drake movement. I think that he's going to, you see his Beverly Hills mansion is up for sale. I think that he's going to make his circle a lot smaller, and not just for the mole thing, because I don't really even believe all that. I just think that he's going to, Drake is going to just change, and we're going to come out and we're going to see a shift, like how you saw a shift in Jay-Z. And I think you're going to shift. I don't think he's going to become a conscious rapper or get married and have a bunch of kids, but I think that you're going to see a different Drake, the Drake that we just saw in the past year or so, with like the nails, the braids, the hair, the outfit, and his last two concerts. Like, people were like, "Yo, what are you wearing? Like, what are you doing?" I just think that Drake got bored and he just got complacent, and this was like, okay, hold on a second now. You know what I mean? Like, you guys just woke me back up. Thank you. All right. I was a little, I think a couple of years from now, you're going to hear him say like, all right, so I was a little bit off track. That battle kind of got me back on, and we're here now. And, he is getting older. He's going to be 38 this year. And I think this will be a perfect time to make a shift and make that Drake that's a little bit more, not as eccentric as we were seeing him go. And just, make his circle a little bit smaller, calm down a little bit, get a little bit more focused. And I think it will make him a little bit more mature, and his music might come out a little bit more mature and a little bit more focused. That's just what I think he should do. And I think that's what just in general he will do. So, that's it. That's all my takes on Drake. Again, salute to Kendrick, salute to Drake, salute to Academics, Joe Budden, Charlamagne. Those are my three people that I really went to hear their takes, hear what's going on, just to everything that's going on, and to come back on to this podcast. I really salute those three people. And more than anybody, they'll all admit, like Academics, like I was on his stream almost like every night. So salute to Academics. Salute to Friday, Ricky Dread up in Toronto. Friday, he's a streamer in Canada. He did his thing. He really gave a lot back to this beef as well too, from a Canadian's perspective. So I'm sure for the rest of the week we will hear more and more things. Kendrick is going to be number one, whatever he might put out a video. But for everything, it's done. It's over. It was great. It was good for the podcast too. Our views were way up. All these content creators got mad views off of this. So just good for hip hop, good for this culture that we all love and we all stay loyal to. So salute. And this is my last take, unless there's another song that comes out, but I doubt it. But this is my last take on Kendrick Lamar. I hope that you guys like everything that we did at the Trend Out Loud podcast, and I hope that we contributed a little small piece to the Canadian take from the Drake and Kendrick beef. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are done with Kendrick and Drake. Boom. All right, in our second lead story, Bodycam footage released shows fatal shooting of Airman Roger Fortson. All right, I don't know if you guys have been hearing about this, because everything has been really just caught up in the headlines with Drake and Kendrick. But this is a story that is brewing up that I really wanted to tell you guys about, because they just released this very disturbing body cam footage. I want to tell you guys about it. For those who want to see a little bit more about it, go to my YouTube page. I'm going to play the video of the shooting. But for those of you who cannot see the video, I will read a little of the story too. Last Thursday, the family of senior airman Roger Fortson. So by the way, that's an airman is somebody who's in the army. Okay. So let you know that he's in the army, Navy. I'm not too sure exactly what, but he is an airman. Okay. Held a press conference with their attorney, Benjamin Crump. Shout out to Benjamin Crump, by the way, as they sought answers about the fatal shooting of their son. As previously reported, the family claims deputies arrived at the wrong apartment while responding to a disturbance call. Listen to this. Body cam footage from the deputy has now been released, showing the moments of the shooting occurred. It was mentioned that Fortson was on a FaceTime call at the time of the incident and retrieved his legally owned weapon after he grew concerned that aggressive knocks were at his door. Prior to getting his firearm, he went to look to see at the door, but didn't see anybody there. All right. So for those of you who still don't get exactly what's happening, because I don't really feel like that story told it very well. So this young man was in his apartment. Okay. He was on FaceTime with his girlfriend. He heard a knock at the door. They were banging. And you hear in the video, police, police, but because he was on the phone, they didn't hear. Okay. So all he heard was knocking. He didn't hear anything. They knocked again. He was like, I don't know who's at my door. He went, and while the police knocking, they hid themselves from the people. So because he was on the phone, he didn't really hear. So he went to go get his firearm, legally owned firearm. He's in Florida. He's allowed to have his own firearm. He opened the door because he didn't see anybody. He opened the door, and you won't see this if you're not seeing the video, but he didn't open the door pointing the gun at anybody. The gun is by his side. He opens the door, and the police officer sees the gun by his side, doesn't say drop the gun or do anything or shoot at his leg. They shoot I don't know how many shots, 4 or 5 shots in his chest and kill him. And then they say, when he's on the ground, they say, drop the gun, drop the gun. And he's like, I did drop the gun. Anyways, he later died from his injuries. It so happens that the police officers were at the completely wrong door. There was a disturbance call. They went to the complete wrong door. This young man lost his life. He was an officer. He fought for his country, and he got shut down holding his legally owned firearm and didn't point it at anybody, didn't know who was at the door, and got shot down. So there's both sides of this. You guys determine, how you feel about the situation. A lot of people online are like, why answer the door with a gun? But if you're in Florida and you have a right to defend yourself and you have a right to own a gun and you have your legal firearm, then if I don't know who's at the door and the police are hiding away from the peephole and I don't know who's there and there's knocking, I'm going to go get my gun too, and I'm going to hold it by my side. I'm going to open the door. Like I said, if he was pointing it at when he opened the door, I would understand those people. So my point of view, I think they were wrong. We'll see what comes out in the court cases. But, my duty is to just give you guys information and you set your own thoughts and decipher, how you feel from it. So these things bother me. Sorry. Anyways, so that's it with lead stories. Please send me your emails, trendoutloud at cfqr600.com. Comment underneath this YouTube channel, this YouTube video, or send me a DM at any of my social handles at trendoutloud. Let me know what you think about the Drake and Kendrick beef, whose side you're on, and also let me know what you think about this fatal shooting, the video surveillance out. Let me know, what you think and how you feel. Most importantly, rest in peace to Roger Fortson, who lost his life. It's just sad to see that this keeps happening. I know around the world, but it keeps happening repeatedly in the U.S. I just want to say rest in peace to Roger and his family. I feel for you guys. Rest in peace. All right, this brings us to quick news. Ring my bell. Charlamagne the God says Family Matters by Drake is the best record in the diss between Kendrick and Drake, but Not Like Us is the best song. I'll let Charlamagne tell you himself. Take a listen.
Family Matters is probably the best record. Not Like Us is the best song.
There you go. Family Matters is the best diss track.
Yeah.
And then Not Like Us is the best bot.
So I heard a lot of people online like, what's the difference between a record and a song? When you hear on the Grammys, you hear Song of the Year and you also hear Record of the Year. And I think mostly what Charlamagne is saying is that like this record song is like song, like it's a bop, like it's a song, but like the technical things that make up a record, he thinks that's where Drake won, or not necessarily that Drake won. Sorry, I don't want to put words in his mouth because he thinks that Kendrick won 100%, but he's just saying of the music, Drake has the best record and Kendrick had the best song. That's what I also think too. And then of course, strategy. But, I wanted to put this in here because Charlamagne has gone on record of being like, yo, I'm an original OG Drake hater. He actually really loves Drake, but he just does that in fun. I wouldn't say love, maybe that's a stretch, but he definitely likes and respects Drake. He just doesn't like that Drake sings so much. He likes rapping Drake. But no, I love this. And shout out to Charlamagne for doing this. And also shout out to Charlamagne, Andrew Schultz. That was on their 500th episode of Brilliant Idiots podcast. If you haven't checked out that podcast, like I just told you, you get a lot of information, especially about the music industry. It's kind of like my podcast too, where they touch on events Anyways, you guys know I'm a big Char fan. So shout out to Char, shout out to Brilliant Idiots. And thank you, Charlamagne, for admitting that and giving Drake some props. All right, in our second speed story, social media users bring up Queen and Clarence's long-term relationship after they respond to an unmarried couple that has been together for 10 years. All right, so this has the internet ablaze. I'll read to you quickly. So hold on. So Queen and Clarence have the internet talking after fans bring up their long-term relationship. Okay, it's the same as their headlines. So take a listen and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Boyfriend of 10 years, not asking to marry me. We've been living together for 4 years. If you've been doing everything you could do, honestly, I just feel like a man knows.
What would you do in that predicament?
I will leave.
So, give you guys some context. I don't really know too much about Clarence and Queen, but they're YouTubers, influencers, etc. But they themselves have on and off relationships where they're together, not together. She's married, they got divorced. So they're like, because Queen, I don't know if we just played this, but Queen is like, yo, how could you be together with somebody for 10 years and he hasn't asked you to marry him? What are you talking about, girl? Leave him. You know what I mean? And that's why the subject of this, or the title of this segment, is called, leaving your boyfriend to find a husband. And anyways, they're saying, Queen, you should leave Clarence because you guys have been in an on and off relationship and he hasn't asked you to marry him. But I don't want to necessarily talk about them. I more want to put the question to you guys and, to women out there and also men. If you're in a 10-year relationship and you're not ready to get married yet, is that too long? That's what the internet is asking. I personally think that if one wants to get married and it's waiting, then I think if they don't know within 10 years, then yes, that's too long. But if you are both comfortable with not being married and you're both comfortable in a situationship or, both comfortable and neither of you want to get married, then that's fine. But I do agree with the people on the side that if it's the guy who wants to get married or the girl who wants to get married, and after 10 years, you guys are living together for 4 years, you guys are in a relationship, it's committed, you guys are loyal to each other, whatever. Like, what are you going to know after 10 years? Like, if you're, especially like, I'm not saying if you were like high school sweethearts and you were together since you were 15, no. But if you're like 25, let's say the 10 years are 25 to 35, notwithstanding like, a long-term relationship or somebody has to move away. If you guys are together after 10 years, if you don't know you're ready for marriage, then yes, it's time to go. But if you guys are both comfortable, then that's okay too. Let me know what you guys think. Send me an email, trendoutloud@cfqr600.com. Comment below or send me a note on any of my social handles @trendoutloud. All right, in our third quick story, Whoopi Goldberg shares thoughts on marriage and commitment. She says, hit and runs are great. I don't mind those, but you can't spend the night. Yo, shout out to Whoopi Goldberg. While chopping it up with Whoopi Goldberg, Don Lemon brought up a previous book she wrote where she expressed marriage was not for her. Years later, Whoopi shares her sentiments on marriage and commitment, and said that fundamentally she is a selfish person. So at this point, hit and runs, basically one night stands, are okay with her when it comes to that interaction. She continues to express that she doesn't really want to give and take that marriage requires. Yo, shout out to Whoopi. I'm single. I feel you, Whoopi. I get it. I feel too, like, I'm not a selfish person when it comes to like people around me, but like my loved ones. But I feel like I might be too selfish for marriage because you really got to give up. It's got to be 50-50. And I'm not too sure. Actually, I am sure, but it would have to be for the right person. Anyways, I'm going to play a little clip for you. And it's more important that, I think Whoopi's like 65, close to 70, and she's talking about her one night stands. And that's more what's getting headlines. But anyways, here's Whoopi.
I am fundamentally a selfish person, so hit and runs are great. I don't mind those, but you can't spend the night.
All right, in our fourth quick story, King Combs releases a diss song aimed at 50 Cent and others speaking on his dad. He says, when all they had was 50 Cent, who put the city on the map? I don't even understand what that means. Anyways, I think this should have been in Speed Story because there's nothing much here. To be honest with you, actually, no, there is something. You know what? I keep on saying every time Diddy posts something or his sons post something, especially this past month, you guys should be happy that people are talking about a bunch of other things and not talking about Diddy. We just had a whole month where every headline was about Diddy, was about Kendrick and Drake. Diddy is posting back on his Instagram. He posts Happy Mother's Day. He posts about his daughter. Now his son is making a diss track to 50 Cent and people talking about his dad. Yo, just shut up, stay off social media and deal with your cases. When your cases are over and you're done and you're not in jail and you beat everything and it's all done, then come out. You are under federal investigation. If I was Diddy, I would have myself and every single member of my immediate family disconnect from Instagram and literally stay off the grid. Every time you do that, you're back in the headlines. And now that these blogs are done talking about Drake and Kendrick, trust me, they're going to jump right back on the Diddy train because they need clicks and they need stuff to be talking about. So anyways, you guys are crazy and the diss track is horrible. And like Lil Duval said, I think we're going to talk about that soon. Anybody's putting out a diss track now, you're just doing it for attention. So this is just horrible. It's just a horrible take. I just don't understand why Diddy is allowing his son to do this. All right, in our fifth quick story, teacher that was ridiculed for letting his middle school students unbraid his hair gets emotional while reading letters of support from current and former students. Oh man, I wish I had more time to get into this story. I talked about this, I think it was in podcast 284, 285. I don't have time. I'll play a little clip and you could hear the emotion that this guy's going through. Take a listen.
Mixed all the controversy that has come from this video that I posted, I wanted to come on here and read some of the messages that my students are sending me. Our class misses you so much, and we really want you to know that we love you and we miss you so much and can't wait for you to come back.
So this is a middle school teacher who let his students, 4 girls, I think 4 or 5 girls, take down his hair. Somebody who has hair, long hair, like myself, that has hair in braids. I told you guys, I asked my mom, my niece, my aunt, and my cousin's girlfriends to help me take down my hair. It is a long process. However, it is a personal process, and I don't think, although it's not a sexual process, it's still personal, and I don't think that a teacher should be allowing his students or her students to get in your hair and take out your braids. There's dandruff, it smells, it's sweaty, it's whatever, it's dirty. It's a personal process that I think should be reserved for your family members, friends, or your hairdresser. Yes, I do think people are wrong saying it's sexualized. No, I don't think it's sexualized, but he's still wrong. And then him doing this video, doubling down with student support, it's not helping you because, like I said, it's not only up to the students because these students are all underage. Do you have letters of support from the parents? Do you have letters of support from the 4 girls who was in your hair saying, I, parent of A, B, C, and D girl, have allowed and given permission to my daughters to take down their hair? Because that was my whole point. It's not up to the kids because they're minors. Before they go on a field trip, their parents have to sign off consent. You cannot ask a minor to do something personally like that without their parents' acknowledgement. I know that's what a lot of moms and dads are upset with this guy is because, anyways, I can't get into it, but it's really about the parent and not so much about the children because the children are not on the age to make those kind of decisions. And reading letters of support from students is just showing that this teacher doesn't understand. We don't know if he's fired yet or if he's going to have anything else become of this, but obviously he's like super emotional and he's just not in a good place, but he is making his situation worse. I wish I had more time to talk about it, but I don't. All right, this brings us to speed news. Ring my bell. Lil Meech from BMF had his mom and his grandmother turn up for Mother's Day. All right, so the star of BMF, I don't know if everybody who's watching it out there, but BMF was on Stars, part of 50 Cent's Power Universe. Lil Meech, son of Big Meech, one of the biggest gangsters and drug dealers in the U.S. He's in jail, going to be released in a couple of years. So Lil Meech took out his mom and grandmother to a strip club. I'm assuming it's going to be in Atlanta. And of course, he's getting backlash for it. Just to say, that's why I set up the beginning. This is a family of drug dealers. This is a family of street dudes. This is a family from Atlanta, from Detroit, that has stripper culture. Like, this is what they do. And he's not forcing his mom. He's not forcing his grandmother. This is what they do, especially in the South. Like, I was just in Atlanta the other day. Like how we up here, like, yo, let's go out for, I'm losing my words now. Let's just go out to the bar for a drink. They go out to a strip club for a drink. Some of the best restaurant food, some of the best wings in Atlanta is at Magic City, is at strip clubs. People go there to eat. So this is just a cultural thing of people not understanding. And like I said, these are grandmothers and mothers of street dudes. They grew up going to the strip club. So it sounds weird to our culture, but it's not weird bringing your mom and your grandmother and that type of culture to a strip club. And I actually love to see it. So shout out to Lil Meech and the Meech family. All right, in our second speed story, DJ Mustard's girlfriend, Brittany, shares that she is pregnant. I don't even know why this is in here. DJ Mustard was the producer of Not Like Us, that bop that Kendrick Lamar produced. All right, and so anyways, it's making headlines. Shout out to DJ Mustard, man, giving Kendrick the nail in Drake's coffin. Anyways, I'm just kidding, man. Shout out to Mustard, man. You know, Mustard is a dope producer. Of course, he's Team Kendrick, but yeah, I'm not a Mustard fan right now, man, as a Canadian, all right? But shout out. I don't know if this is his first kid or not, but shout out to them. I hope they have a healthy baby boy or girl. Shout out to Mustard. All right, in our third speed story, Mary J. Blige announces that she is releasing her own boot line. This has been a long time coming. After years of slaying the boot game, Mary J. Blige has announced that she has her own boot line. Mary collaborated with, okay, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. It sounds like an Italian company, Giuseppe Zaputo or something, for her own line, and she announced it at a recent concert. Shout out to Mary J. Blige. Of course, I have to throw that in here, hip hop and R&B on CFQR 600. I literally play Mary at least 2-3 times a week. And if any of you who are Mary J. Blige fans, you know Mary is always popping out with like the thigh high, I call them FM girl boots. But yo, Mary always has the thigh high boot. So it only makes sense that she would put out her own boot line. And she's been talking about it for years. So shout out to Mary. I love when, you know, our favorite artists are getting older and they start getting into business ventures and, you know, diversifying. So yo, shout out to Mary, man. All right, in our fourth speed story, The Game drops Freeway Revenge seemingly aimed at Rick Ross. All right, so that was that. I think Game put that out like on Friday, and then he dropped, and then he put something out on Instagram, which I am not going to read. I do not have the time. But so Game was going after Rick Ross. We still don't even know why. He put out, I don't think it was a video, but I think it was just a track. But then he said, the serial killer ain't want this smoke. You know, he's scared to drop, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So claiming victory over Ross. I just want to say to the Game, like, shout out to the Game, whatever. But yo, I just wanted to say to the Game, like, bro, if Rick Ross doesn't answer you in a diss, that is really, you've really got to a big low, because Rick Ross is always jumping and always trying to promote his Bel Air and try to do anything else that will get him rapping. The fact that he didn't even reply to you, that is a big enough diss on itself, and that shows that you lost. The fact that Ross won't even deem a reply. That's how bad your diss track was to him, and how obvious that you're just trying to get into the Drake and Kendrick battle. Like, it's already over. It's too late. I know you know, I'm not gonna say you paid Ack, but there's something in there. You called up Ack and you asked him to try to premiere it on his stream. It just didn't work. All right. So, yo, don't claim nothing. Game didn't win no battle. It wasn't even a battle. It wasn't even a diss. It's a little embarrassing, Game. You know what I mean? It's a little embarrassing. All right, in our fifth quick story, I don't know if my count is on. I think maybe I just said fifth before, but this is our real fifth story. This is what I've been alluding to all show. This is actually my favorite piece of information I'm giving you guys. And I want all you rappers or music people that are listening to this podcast to listen to this. Lil Duval says, at this point, if you put out a diss record at somebody, you are corny because you are just following the wave. Yo, it's over for battles. Stop it. Sukiyano, who I love. JT, who I love. Who else is trying to battle? Chris Brown, Quavo, Game, not Kendrick, Game, Ross. Yo, just stop it. I have another story later on. I think not later on, but coming up to like Soulja Boy Bro, stop it. Everybody tried to jump on the Kendrick and Drake thing. It's over. We're exhausted. Anybody from this point on, you put out a diss track, bro, you're corny, dog. You're corny. Duval hit the nail right on the head, and it's a great way to just sum up everything. For the rest of the summer, we don't want to hear no battles. We don't want to hear no beefing. It's done. It's over. It's corny. All right, in our sixth speed story, Drake asked local news station out in Toronto to stop flying their helicopter over his house around certain times because he's trying to catch some Z's. It was really funny. I think this came out on, Friday or Saturday. Drake added CP24 breaking news, and he said, "Can we discuss the helicopter flying times over my house? Because I won't lie, I'm trying to sleep. Anytime after 3 p.m. works great for me." Yo, Drake is, and they put it like hashtag like unbothered. Yo, Drake is just at his house. There's like 3 or 4 trespassers. They're shooting helicopters. Drake is like, hey, can you just not put the helicopters in the middle of the night? Yo, I sleep to around, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Anytime after 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, anytime after that, yo, I'm good. Yo, Drake is a G, bro. Shout out to Drizzy, man. And shout out to CP24. All right, in our seventh speed story, Stevie Wonder says the Drake and Kendrick Lamar feud is a distraction from the real issues that are going on in the world. I had to put this out because, Stevie Wonder is a legend out there. Many celebrities have been asking their thoughts about the back and forth between Kendrick, Drake, and Drake Lamar. The latest person asked to weigh in on the matter was Stevie Wonder, who says it is a distraction from the real world issues of war and homelessness. I had a little clip of Stevie saying this, but I don't have time to play it. Listen, I heard a lot of people saying this out there. I think more what Stevie was saying is that, listen, let's not get distracted. But I just want to make sure that we don't get confused, because there's some people out there who thinks that some people higher up was we're paying Drake and Kendrick to do this so that they could distract the sheep from everything else that's going on. I don't think that's what Stevie was saying. I think Stevie was more saying, hey guys, I know this is fun, but let's get back to the other issues that are happening in the world, like war and homelessness or whatever. Not that it was a paid distraction, all right? So just don't mince words from the OG Stevie Wonder. All right, in our eighth and final speed story, Soulja Boy calls out Metro Boomin over a, listen to this date, 2012 tweet. He's calling out Metro Boomin from a tweet 12 years ago, from 2012. And he gives Metro Boomin 24 hours to delete the tweet. And then 21 Savage jumped in and he said, yo, or else what? If he doesn't delete it, or else what? I have a little clip. I really don't even want to play it. Don't make me play it. But it's just funny. Just listen to this.
Y'all been secretly hating on me my whole career in 2012. So that means in 2012, you was a bitch.
This is just sad. Soulja Boy, bro, it's 12 years ago. Stop. Like Lil Duval said, man, y'all stop trying to jump in on this beef. Stop trying to find ways going in. And you've got, game was bad. This is a new low. You really went and scrolled all the way down to 2012, Metro Boomin's tweets to be like, yo, Drake, I feel you, bro. Metro's hating on you. It was hating on me 12 years ago. Hey, yo, Metro. Yo, you got 24 hours to take it down. Yo, Metro ain't taking down nothing, Soulja, so just stop it. All right, this brings us to question of the day. I actually had another one, but last minute I just found this question of the day, and I thought it was really good to just close off this whole Mother's Day thing. So, what's the biggest lesson you've learned from your grandmother? Lala Taylor wrote, always have money of your own. A man can leave you stranded. Good advice. Simple_Jesse wrote, always keep God first and pray. Somebody wrote, not everyone is your friend. That's a very good lesson. Jess wrote, my grandmother told me you don't have to be loud to be heard. Don't scream to improve your argument. Woo! That's a bar. Yo, shout out to grandma for that. It's funny. Anyways, I don't have time. It's really about my name, Trent Out Loud, but anyways, I'll tell you guys another time. St. John Rappa wrote, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. That's one of my favorite quotes. D. Coda Abear wrote, never depend on anyone but yourself. Be independent. Somebody wrote, don't bring random men that have no desire to stay around your children. Yeah, that's a little deep. Just because somebody is up in age doesn't mean they're grown up. Woo, that's a good one. Yo, grandmothers and mothers, man, what would we do without them? All right, what else here? No love from another human will be worth more than the love you have for yourself. Woo, that's a good one. Give out food no matter how little. That's a good one. Even when you're married, always have a separate bank account. Jeez. Somebody said, mind your business. Always have your own. Pay your rent and keep your home clean. My mom always says that too. Make sure you have your house. Never leave your house without washing your dishes. That's a West Indian thing. All right. I'll read two more. Don't ever make a woman shed tears unless they're tears of joy. That's a good one. And the last one I'll read is apply yourself at everything. That's a really nice one. All right. For those of you who know, I've written a book, How Sneakers Saved My Life. And within the first, on page 23, I actually say a favorite quote from my grandmother. And it says that one of my favorite quotes from my grandmother is, you have to kiss ass before you can kick ass. I go on to say, although she knew she personally wouldn't be able to kick ass here in Canada because the system wouldn't allow her to, she knew if she kissed ass long enough, I would be able to kick ass for her. So I always love that quote. You got to kiss ass before you can kick ass. And even for those people who, you're not able to, to kick ass, or you're not able to make it to that level that you wanted to, just know that the second generation and the third generation will be able to come behind you and kick ass for you. So that is why I work. I go on to talk about that, why I work so hard for what my mom and what my grandmother, my dad's mom, and the strong women that have come, in my family, coming up here from Jamaica or whatever, and the lessons they gave me are the reasons why I work so hard. And I attribute a lot of my success to the women in my life and the sacrifices they made. So again, shout out to moms, grandmothers, aunts, and everybody out there. We love you, and we cannot wait. Well, I cannot wait until next Mother's Day. All right, this brings us to sports news. All right, what an amazing weekend of basketball. We'll talk about it quickly. The Dallas Maverick beat the Thunder in a great game. Dallas now leads 2-1. Really dope. And then the Celtics beat the Cavs. Okay, not so surprising. Boston is leading that 2-1. The bigger surprise, though, was yesterday. Those were Saturday's games. Friday's games were dope too. But the bigger surprise was the Pacers destroying New York. Like, what the hell is going on? That series tied 2-2. I mean, it's not such a surprise that the series is tied 2-2. All the analysts, sports analysts, has said that series was probably going to go to Game 6, Game 7. I think Shannon Sharp was the only one that predicted it's going to go to Game 7. Stephen A. Smith said Game 6. I still think the Knicks will pull it out. Actually, I want the Knicks to pull it out. Knicks and Boston will be such a good series. But I'm just surprised I got blown out. I didn't get to see the game. But anyways, shout out to the Pacers. That's going to be a great series. My team, the Wolves. Yo, I don't understand how the Timberwolves beat Denver 2 games at home and then came right back and they lost 2 games at home. And now their series is tied 2-2. It's just confusing. Shout out to Denver, the Denver coaching staff. They made the adjustments and won. We'll see now when they go back to Denver what the Timberwolves will be able to do now back at home in Denver. And if Denver actually wins this series, it will be the 6th time in NBA history that a team has come back and won being down from 0-2. But I still think that the Wolves definitely will win this series. And I still think that it's going to be Dallas and Minnesota, West Coast, Knicks and Boston in East Coast. That's going to be your conference finals. And we'll see. Anyways, great game, great weekend of basketball. All right, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I made your Monday a little bit easier to deal with. Brought some jokes, brought some entertainment. We had one sad story in there still bothering me. But thank you very much for tuning in. A little bit of housekeeping. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on podcast platforms, please Try to check me out weekdays from 11 to 12 on CFQR600.com, or if you're in the Montreal area, 600 AM. We do play this podcast with 90s and 2000s hip hop and R&B. It's a great hour, great way to break up your day. Vice versa, if you're used to listening to the Trying Out Loud podcast on CFQR 600 and you're not always able to catch it from 11 to 12, don't worry, we got you. The podcast is always on YouTube and podcast platforms. It's uploaded daily. If you have a meeting, if you're working, you're going out for lunch and you can't miss it, you can always catch us on demand on YouTube, on podcast platforms. Just type in Trent Out Loud. That's it. I'm actually not going home, going to bed, yo. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I feel hype. It's a great Monday. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you tomorrow on Tuesday. I'm out. Thanks for tuning in. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud. Peace.